Welcome everyone to another nuking experiment in Fallout 76. Previously we nuked the Imposter Sheep Squatch event and it was successful. You were able to take out the Imposter Sheep Squatch instantly by nuking it, or you can nuke it before you start up the event. That way the Imposter Sheep Squatch doesn't get instantly taken out, so the event carries on, and we'll be able to loot nuked ingredients such as glowing mass, hardened mass, high radiation fluids. I mean, you get the point. Off these robots that'll infinitely spawn here during this event. And trust me, you do get quite a lot if you focus on just the robots spawning in. Of course, you're also going to have to focus on the Imposter Sheep Squatch too if you want to successfully complete the event. Anyways, in this experiment, we're going to be seeing what happens when we nuke the Burrows. This is a new dungeon in the sewers that was introduced April 16th. I'm excited to see what happens because it is loaded with feral ghouls, as you can see here, for instance. It is insane how many ghouls are down here. And not to mention, above the surface, which by the way, the Burrows is located underneath Harper's Ferry. So above it, there's also super mutants that we can take on, and also there can be a random spawn of feral ghouls here too. It just all depends on what you have in your server. So there is plenty of enemies around here. I'm not exactly sure on the flora around in this location, but we're going to be finding out what flux we get the most around this area as well. So sit back, relax, and I hope you all enjoy.
Keycard accepted. Keypad user credentials expired. Please enter new launch code. Access granted. Attention. Attention. Launch sequence activated. Launch tube will seal in 30 seconds. All personnel should exit the launch tube immediately.
Okay, wow. Wow. This place is a gold mine. There are loads of legendaries everywhere down here in the Burrows. Holy, this is way better than White Springs. Way better. Like, some of the people in my party wanted me to keep quiet about this area. That's how good this place is. But I feel like this will be a good addition to the series. This is literally the best episode that we have had so far. Thank you, Bethesda. This is exactly the kind of place that we've been needing. Another good area to actually farm at. And there, once again, are loads of freaking legendaries here. But before I get down into the Burrows, let's go ahead and go over what's at the top of it, around in Harper's Ferry, and also, not to mention, Sunday Brothers Cabin. That is also what you're going to be wanting to hit when you do nuke around in this area to hit the Burrows. As you saw previously, I just chose to hit the Burrows North, and that also hit Sunday's Brother Cabin. The reason why I suggest hitting that also is because around in that area, you're going to be getting tons of nuked flora. Specifically, Raw Violet and Crimson. As you can see, that is what I got the most out of doing like a quick run through of this general area. Now, some of my buddies got way more than I collected, but this is the kind of flux that you'll be finding the most of. And in third place would be the cobalt flux. That was also around Sunday Brothers' cabin. That seemed to be the hot spot for the nuked flora, around in the woods of that location and whatnot. Anyways, as for Harper's Ferry itself, there were plenty of super mutants. And like I mentioned before, there are feral ghouls that can randomly spawn here too. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You could also possibly get glowing ones to spawn up here. There are plenty of enemies to take out here before you technically go down into the burrows. And you might find a few legendaries up here. And I'm telling y'all, underneath this place in the sewers, there were tons of legendaries. I have never seen this many ever in the game. This is honestly better than White Springs. Now the only thing is it's going to be a little bit more compact because you are down in the sewers. So be careful using explosives, and I highly suggest turning on pacifist mode so you don't accidentally get yourself killed. Because if you accidentally shoot another player, well, that player might just take you out because you just accidentally shot them. You never know. I'm just saying, turn on pacifist mode if you are coming down here to grind legendaries. Now, I did see a lot of judgments over Fallout's tweets promoting the Burrows, which don't get me wrong. Without this place being nuked, it was pretty bland, and I didn't see that many legendaries. But when this place was nuked, I seen loads. And the place seemed a little bit tougher because it was nuked. A lot of our players were coming down into the burrows because they saw the area was nuked. And that made it so more and more glowing ones kept respawning because new players kept entering the dungeon. It is an amazing experience. I seen loads, and so did everyone else that I was playing with. Like I mentioned before, some of the people that I was playing with wanted me to keep this on the hush. Some of the people that were really quick to judge this dungeon, don't get me wrong, I was right there in the same boat. I was like, this is it, really? So then me and my buddies decided to go nuke this area, and it changed our perspective completely. I mean, you gotta think, part of the in-game content, after all, is nuking certain locations around in Fallout 76. That's what Bethesda placed into the game for high-level players, particularly to go do. I mean, you're not going to be able to go just launch a nuke at level 5 or 10. It's just not going to work like that. So, yeah, I just thought I wanted to mention that because I was seeing Bethesda getting quite a bit of hate over this dungeon, and I'm telling y'all, it is definitely worth it when you do nuke this location. This place is better than White Springs. Okay, so yeah, you get the point. You get good experience and good loot down here. And not to mention, there are plenty of utilities used down here too, such as the armor's workbench. And not too much further from that, you can find the weapons workbench is a great hot spot for legendaries. We typically seen a couple legendaries around in this area every time there was a new batch here. And also, not too much further from the weapons workbench, you can find a cooking stove that you can cook all the glowing meat that you'll find off these glowing ones down here. And trust me, there are endless amounts of them as long as new players are coming down here. It's insane, I'm telling you. And also, not to mention, there's even a Tinker's workbench as well down here. So yeah, we have plenty to work with. We just gotta hope that players actually come here when this place is nuked. Hopefully this gets passed around the community enough where players actually know that this is a great spot. And not to mention, there's a vendor above that you can sell all of your loot to. And I managed to sell out the vendor from all the loot that I gathered down here. And like you all have been seeing with this gameplay, there are plenty of legendaries down here that will spawn. And yes, we did see 3 stars as well. By the way, in case you all may be wondering where to go when you do go down here for a hot spot of enemies, I'll go ahead and show you real quick the route to get to a really hot spot down here that me and my team were just basically staying at and just farming the enemies that will continue to spawn down here whenever someone new enters down in the burrows. And not to mention, even if there are no longer any new players coming down here, you can still do that glitch back in the day, in case some of you don't know, by just dashboarding, quitting completely out of the game, and then joining back in with your team, and then heading back down into the burrows. That will respawn the enemies down here too. Yeah, this is the area that me and my team like to farm enemies at. There were loads here. But yeah, that's about wrapping up this video. Hopefully you all found this enjoyable. Once again, this has been the best episode so far during my What Happens If You Nuke series. This place is absolutely insane. And it actually topped White Springs. The only thing is, if you're looking for yellow cake, fluorescence, or cobalt flux, then this place probably wouldn't be as worth it than White Springs. So yeah, just keep that in mind if you are on the hunt for any specific nuked flora. But yeah, I'm out of here, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to watch and listen. Until next time, peace.